Joining us. Today we're celebrating the appearance of our beloved Gurumaharaj, His Holiness Krishna Swami Gurumaharaj Ki Jay. And I'd like to actually welcome Trikaljnana Prabhu and also Madhusudan Prabhu. Actually, originally had a discussion with Madhusudan Prabhu because many devotees will not be aware of Guru Maharaj's pastimes, especially in the early days, in the 70s and 80s in the UK. And I asked Madhusudan Prabhu if he could kindly share, because he was there that time, he can kindly share the experiences. And he's also one of the first disciples that Guru Maharaj initiated. And during the conversation, Madhusudan Prabhu mentioned Trikaljnana Prabhu, and I was thinking, hey, Trikaljnana Prabhu. Now, the first person who brought Guru Maharaj to our ashram, I think it was in 1987, after the quadruple bypass operation, was Trikaljnana. He brought Guru Maharaj to our ashram.
Yeah, right.
And
Good
then
memories.
Good memories, amazing memories. And so luckily, we managed to contact with Trikaljnana Prabhu a couple of days ago. And he very, very kindly said he'd like to join us. I'd invited him and he said, yes, he'd love to share pastime. Because Trikaljnana Prabhu knows Guru Maharaj from the 70s, right?
Yeah, from the time he was called Pitaji at the Bhaktivedanta banner.
My goodness. So that's way before anybody.
That was before even I joined, yes.
Brilliant. So actually what I was thinking, now Prabhu is calling us from Vrindavan. And of course his time is a little bit restricted because Vrindavan is 4.5 hours ahead of us. So I wanted Prabhu to start and recall the pastimes that you had with Guru Maharaj. Also wanted to just let devotees know that Narahari is also with us on this call. He also lives in Vrindavan. So we are actually very, very fortunate. We have the association and company of great souls living in Vrindavan at this moment. And Narayan Prabhu is there as well. So I'd like to firstly say, Vanchakalpa, Tarubhyascha,
Kripa Sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo.
So Trikaljnana Prabhu, please go for it.
Was Madhusudan going to say some things first, or should I start? Or?
Madhusudan can.
I can start by saying a few things. I mean, yes. If you can let me screen share.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Yes. We also have Dharam Raj, who's on the call. And 1 second, just do the screen share. Okay, you can share. He's also got lots of pictures of Guru Maharaj on the video. So whenever we want, we can have that rolling. Because at the moment, what are you seeing on the screen? Okay, you're seeing Ministering of Praise. So let me just come out. Yeah, let me come out. Okay.
Can you see anything now?
We can see you.
And Kamakshi Devi, Hare Krishna. At least half of her.
Let me. Can you see the screen?
Not yet, Prabhu.
Nothing on the screen yet.
Yet.
If you stop share and start again, it usually takes a couple of goes to do it.
Okay. Let me get back to.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Yeah? Can you see now?
Yes.
Very nice, yes.
Okay.
Oh, Krishna Maharaj Ki Jay.
Right. So this is appearance day, and thought I'll put a few slides together. So that's Maharaj. And just so we can all start by just at least, I'd like to say Hari Bol to everyone and welcome everyone as well. And if you just say a few pranams, Om Jnana Timinanda Jnanandana Salakaya Chakshurumritam
Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam
Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam.
Jai Vandeham Sri Guru
Sri Tapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Sri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahaguna Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Saha Guna Lalita Sri Visakan Vitam Sya
Hey Krishna Karuna
Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute
Sapta Kanchan Gaurani
Kanchana Gaurangi Sri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shivanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Panchakalpatarvishya Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavane Vishnu
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu
Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Siva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare.
So my time in Trikalagya, and we all go back years and years, and obviously Trikalagya and we grew up together in Africa, and when we came over here, we spent a lot of time together. And it was Trikalagya used to be at Aston University in Birmingham, and he used to come to my house in Coventry a lot. And then at that time, we started discussing about certain things. And 1970s, Prabhupada had established ISKCON in New York. He had established certain things in San Francisco, and some devotees had come over to London. We came over to this country, I remember 1969. So by that time, Prabhupada was already in America and establishing the movement. And the early 70s, I can still relate coming to this country. And it was the Beatles era and George Harrison and Top of the Pops and seeing the Hare Krishnas on the Top of the Pop show. And we just thought that was a bit weird. But it was at that time that, I came across Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as well on a bookshelf. And I was really impressed by Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita itself, because it answered some of the questions which were bugging me at that time. And I was still very young. So when Trikalagya came to my house, I used to talk about and mention Prabhupada, and I showed him Bhagavad Gita as well. I can remember, those days, and he used to love my Dharampatni's Bateta Pawas, he's come. But anyway, it was nice to see that, later on Trikalagya actually joined at the manor and started serving Prabhupada's mission in a big way. And he's done well. He's done so much service, over the years. So even Krishnadas Maharaj, and certainly Krishnadas Maharaj and Trikalagya would go back years. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this screen all right? Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Haribol, as Anand Vijay is joined. This Hare Krishna. Yeah, so this is Trikalagya at one of the stalls during the campaign time. This is when I think you were campaigning and standing at one of the stalls, and Maharaj was there as well. So this is a time when maybe you can, Trikalagya, you can tell more about Guru Maharaj and the time you spent together.
Okay. Srila Prabhupada Ki, Krishnadas Maharaj Ki Jay. So first of all, I want to thank Nabhinandan Prabhu and Madhusudan Prabhu for remembering me and giving me this privilege and opportunity to say a few words. I pray to His Holiness Krishnadas Swami as well as Prabhupada to bless me so I can remember and remind and glorify Maharaj which he very much deserves to be. So, Srila Prabhupada, one time he was talking to devotees and he said, you have to be big in the heart, not big in the head. So he was talking about some philosophers and scientists like that. And so the devotees were kind of making some arguments, and then Srila Prabhupada very boldly said that, you know, all these big time people, they are just simply big in the head. When you go into their hearts, they're not even kindergarten students. You know? So that really stuck in my mind, and I think Krishna Swami was an ideal emblem, an example of somebody being really big from the heart. You know, he was well equipped with knowledge. He could roar with slokas like anything at the right time and right place, such that it would inflict your thinking so much so that you would never forget that these points are so important for me in my life. You know? So, and in the early days, even when we first started coming to the Bhaktivedanta Mehra in 79, he was known as Pitaji. You know, Chaitanya Prabhu at that time was Guru and GBC. He used to call Krishna Swami by calling him Pitaji. And because he used to call him Pitaji, all the devotees used to call Maharaj Pitaji. You know? So he was really known as the father of the Manor temple. All the devotees knew him as the father. You know? Sadly enough, you know, even when Krishna was here, there were many politics and, you know, things changed. So Jayatitha exited the movement, and then, you know, Maharaj was very humble, and he, in a very saintly way, he followed in the great footsteps of Vidura, that's great Saint Vidura, and he went on a pilgrimage. And then when he came back, that is when we first time actually really met him, by which time there was a new regime in control of the manor. So Street was run differently. All of the yatra was being run differently. So there's quite a lot going on. And then we met with Maharaj, and our first meeting, we really clicked with him because we just saw that there's so much humility in him. He was so sweet with his word. He was saying, "Beta, tumhara naam kya hai? Beta, tum kaise ho? Beta, tum kya karte ho?" It was just like he knew me for lifetimes. And then he started talking to my wife also, calling her the Betty, and, you know, asking some very standard questions. My wife is sitting next to me here somewhere. So, so we were really touched, and then we found out that he was mostly in central London preaching with Soho Street, and then on the weekend we started driving him from, you know, Woolwich sometimes from Soho Street. We would bring him over to Bhaktivedanta Manor, and he would give classes. He would meet, you know, the congregation, and because I had the privilege and opportunity to be with him, I realized that people really loved him. You know, the congregation loved him. They missed him so much. They were like all over him. And then see him, suddenly they would be just like, you know, if you put a little drop of honey and all the bees would suddenly just swamp into that place. The devotees would swamp into that place. And many people, devotees especially, still call him Pitaji, those who knew him before he had gone on to the pilgrimage. So this was very touching experience for us. Then as we moved forward, Bhagwan Das, who was the new GBC for England, you know, he was new, so he was still trying to adjust himself. And then there was another sannyasi by the name of Drustadumna Swami. So we used to call him Didi Swami. Drustadumna Swami came, and then I was able to get access to him, because when Bhagwan was new, it was very difficult to get access to him. I wanted to talk to him about, you know, involving and engaging Maharaj more at the manor. Then Drustadumna Maharaj very reluctantly but said, yes, okay, you bring him over and I will meet with him for 15-20 minutes. He said, I'm very busy, you know, Bhagwan is keeping me very busy. I don't have so much time. But surprisingly, when he started his 20 minutes meeting at about 9 in the morning, it did not stop till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, when they asked the devotees to bring lunch. And I still remember I was standing outside waiting for Maharaj to come out. That 20 minutes turned into like 4 hours. And then they took lunch together. We served them prasadam. And after lunch, then Dushtaduma Swami, I'm not sure exactly what conversation he had with Bhagwan, then they invited Maharaj into Bhagwan's room. And then again, there were several hours of discussions going on. Next thing we knew is Dushtaduma came out. He called the temple commander and he said, go set up that room upstairs for Maharaj. You know, so it's one room upstairs, which was nice big room. And before we knew, next thing is Maharaj had moved into the temple. And then we were preaching from the temple, from that time onwards. So it was a big, big step for us to see that happen so nicely after especially the yatra had been through so much turmoil.
What year was that, Trikalgya Prabhu?
I think that was 80, in 1980. Yeah, 1980. Yeah. So, and then that helped us a lot because see, otherwise we were only able to see Maharaj on a Sunday, because we had to drive him early in the morning and then drive him back at night. So I still remember that taking back to South Street of Woolwich, I'd be driving back at 10 o'clock at night, coming back at 11 o'clock at night, like that, But it was a very big plus for our yatra as a whole, not just Bhaktivedanta Manna, but I would say for the society, international society at large, because he contributed so much, so that we have very little idea of how much he actually influenced the people at large in his speeches, And then we started, if I would say, credit not just for the South London Temple, but credit for Leicester Yatra, credit for Birmingham Yatra, and certainly credit for Coventry Yatra goes totally to Krishnadas Maharaj. He is the one who inspired me that let's go out and preach. We were initially just preaching in London area, and he inspired we should go out and preach in Leicester, Birmingham, Coventry. And that's when we met up the Coventry crew. Madhusudan Prabhu became more involved, Haridas became involved, other devotees became involved. In Leicester, we had Jagat Purush there. He was very welcoming at that time also. And then there were some other devotees. The Jani brothers became involved. And in Birmingham, there was one African European devotee, Govinda Bashya. So he also started, because he was just living in one room somewhere, just distributing books. So then Maharaj encouraged him, and then Shivaram Maharaj came. Shivaram Maharaj was also very, very helpful. He was very cooperative with us. So we were able to establish, preaching centers in all these places. Initially, we were on Melton Road in Leicester in a ground floor, and that time Krishnadas Maharaj was very much involved with us. So he did amazing amount of preaching. Wherever he went, he was just very dynamic. He could quote slokas like anything, and especially he could quote slokas from Gita and explain them in such a way that it would really settle into your heart, not just in your mind. Then we came to Bhaktivedanta Manna campaign. Bhaktivedanta Manna campaign was a very, very challenging task right at the beginning. Not only the Heartsmay Council wanted us to close down, but even Prabhupada disciples and ISKCON devotees in general and congregation members, everyone was saying, oh, this is too much, we should just close Bhaktivedanta Manna, move away to another area. And there's some of the devotees that started looking for properties, other places. They were thinking of just moving Radha Gokulananda. And then one morning, the morning before, Akhandadi and myself, we went to see the QC. I met with Krishna Swami and I was saying, Maharaj, what do we do? This is such a challenging situation. Our own people are not with us. And I remember he said, stand up and fight. Krishna told Arjuna to stand up and fight and leave the results to him. So he said, why can't we understand that? It was like that. He just came out like that, I still remember we were standing in the corridor in the manor. And that really sunk in my system. So next morning when we went to see the QC and we came out, and his secretary has told us that it'll be 500 pounds for every half an hour that the QC gives you, So like in the public hearing, sometimes the QC had to sit there for 4 hours. Now in those days, paying $4,000 a day to the QC was not a small amount of money. So we were thinking of all that as we were coming out. And then Akhandedi asked me on the way back, said, Trikala, what do you think we should be doing? I said, you know what, I was talking to Krishna Swami and I just repeated in the same manner, in a very strong thing that he said, stand up and fight. Why can't you understand? Krishna says, stand up and fight. So he said, funny, he said, I am also thinking the same, but what are we going to do with our people? Our own people are not with us. But the fact that he told me that really sunk in my system. I told Akhandedi, and then it was just initially Maharaj, Akhandedi, and myself. We were the three devotees who were standing in front of all the proper disciples, in front of the congregation, and trying to convince them that we have to fight. So we asked the GBC, and they said, well, you are the managers, so you know what is the best. So whatever you decide, we will go with you. So they didn't say no, they didn't say yes. Then we talked to the local devotees, and they were more or less, no, you guys are crazy. Where are you going to get so much money from? You're going to throw Prabhupada's money away. So many things were coming. But Maharaj kept encouraging in every meeting, you must fight, you must fight, you must fight. I remember the first Sunday when Krishnadas Maharaj was standing there, Akhandedi was standing there, and I was standing there. And then the presentation was done by Akhandedi in English, Maharaj spoke in Hindi, and then I asked the question, so how many of you, we had this strategy, how many of you agree that we should stand up and fight? There was, believe me, pin drop silence. Nobody would say anything. Nobody wanted to say anything. They were just like completely baffled. They're thinking, how in the three worlds are we going to fight the government of England and win this battle? No? But Maharaj was so strong in his presentation. So out of the whole crowd, the Bhaktivinoda man was completely crowded. One 10-year-old or 12-year-old girl stood up and she put her hand up and she said, I will fight. A 10-year-old girl stood up and said, I will fight. And then there was a round of applause. Everyone started clapping, and that was the beginning. And then when everyone stopped clapping, Maharaj said, you know who has just spoken to you? And everyone went quiet, and he said, Radharani has just spoken to all of you through that little girl. So you better understand, we have to fight. You know? And so that is how the fight actually began. So the credit actually goes to Krishnadas Maharaj, that he actually encourages so much so that we had to fight. We were not going to back down under any circumstances, So that was one big step. So if we fought that manner campaign and we went all the way through the victory, I would say that the biggest bulldozer for the fight came from Krishnadas Maharaj. If he had not pushed us so much so, devotees would have thought, okay, let us just move, And in every meeting, he stood up and he spoke. And he repeated himself to make sure that people understood that we had to fight. And today, hundreds and thousands of devotees are enjoying the festivals at Bhaktivinoda manner. But we should be remembering Maharaj, that it was Maharaj who helped us to get these 80 acres of land extra, and today we are able to celebrate in such a nice way. Another really great thing that he gave us, and he told me, I said, Maharaj, so now what do we do? And he said, first thing you do, he said, you pray to Radha Gokulananda every day and write a prayer that everyone will recite. Many of you may remember that famous prayer where we used to say, our dear Lordship, Sri Sri Radha Gokulananda, Sri Sri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Sri Sri Go Nitai, for the pleasure of your pure devotee Srila Prabhupada, if you so desire, please help us in this battle, And that prayer became so famous. It was in the newspapers, it was in the media. Every child in every home was praying every day. Every family was requested that you pray like this every day when you're taking dinner or when you're doing your puja. So I wrote this prayer in different ways. I showed it to Maharaj. Maharaj said, change this, change that, do this, do that. And then we announced and we printed these little cards and we started giving out cards every Sunday. But that prayer, we should know, it came from inspiration from Maharaj himself. So this was a very big plus for us. And then when Frank Ward came, Frank Ward, who helped us to fight in this campaign, it was Maharaj who encouraged him. You know, Maharaj really encouraged him. I remember the first time Frank Ward came, and afterwards Maharaj and Frank and his family, Kathy and Claire Ward, who later became the MP in UK, she was there also, and they spent like several hours at the manor and about an hour or so with Krishna's Maharaj preaching to, you know, Frank Ward and his family. And Frank became so convinced that he had to fight for our temple. And then within a few weeks, Maharaj gave him a name, Arjun Das. Why he gave him the name Arjun Das? Because he saw that this guy had the quality, he was going to stand up and fight for us despite the fact that he was not an ISKCON devotee. So he stood up and fought for us. He got the name Arjun Das, and then I let Madhusudan Prabhu continue from there. How Maharaj did so much preaching worldwide, South Africa, how we first came to Comity and how Maharaj inspired us and how the Yatra came up. You know, some of these things Madhusudan Prabhu can expand upon. But that is some of the things I remember. And I would humbly say that, you know, one thing is that Sanatana Goswami says that Vrindavan is a unique place, not just on this planet Earth, but even beyond the Vaikuntha planets, going as far as to Goloktam. Why? Because he says when Lord Krishna comes and performs his pastimes in Vrindavan, he walks barefoot only. And why does he walk barefoot? Because all the footprints, all the emblems on his foot are being placed on this planet. And this planet was being blessed. And that's why Vrindavan is very, very special, you know. So, and in scriptures is also said that any activity you perform, it gets multiplied by 1,000 times. So it's like if you chant 16 rounds in Vrindavan, it's like chanting 16,000 rounds in Vrindavan. And if you chant 16 rounds in Washington, London, or Paris, it's only 16 rounds. That is the uniqueness of Vrindavan Dham. Therefore, I would say Vrindavan Dham Ki Jay. You guys do have a small place here. You should consider, I would advise you that you should consider doing something in the memory of Maharaj, something very simple, so that his memories will be remembered. People are coming from all over the world. You should connect that place to ISKCON properly. You should put a small historical museum for Maharaj there on the ground floor. And just like Bhakti Tirtha Swami, you know, they did a samadhi for him in Mayapur, and they did a Pushpa samadhi for him in Philadelphia, where Maharaj stayed a lot. It would be nice if you had just a very simple, you know, samadhi for him here in Vrindavan also. So when people come, and you come with your people, you can come and pay respects to him, remember him. Why you want to remember him? Every day we are chanting, you know, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Kya Arna Kariyo Mane Asa. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya. The words that are emanating from the lotus mouth of the spiritual master, they should be embedded in our hearts, not just thought of in our mind, but they should be embedded in our hearts, because the dormant love for Krishna and Guru is always there within the heart. If we can connect to the words of the Guru's, you know, coming from the Guru's lotus mouth to our heart, then we will make advancement. It is to our benefit. You know? And in this way, we can remember him. Sri Guru Charane Rati. That means we remember his lotus feet. You know, by remembering his lotus feet, we will remembering his word. And if we remember his words, then we will be able to follow in his footsteps and serve the moment. He served the moment so dynamically. He didn't waste any time. I can't remember him saying, oh, let's just relax, or let's just not do this or that. It's every moment, okay, what is the plan? Where are we going? What are we doing? You know, so it was like dynamic. Everything was dynamic. When we finished, went to program, it was dynamic. At the program, it was dynamic. Coming back from the program, it was dynamic. Our life should be like that in his footsteps. We should remember what he was, how he was, and we should follow in his footsteps. Thank you all so much for inviting me. This is a really great opportunity for me and a privilege personally. I thank again Abhinandan Prabhu and Madhusudan Prabhu for remembering and bringing me onto the program in this event. And thanks you guys for arranging this event. Haribol.
Thank you, Trikalya Prabhu. Thank you for sharing the pastimes. We will call upon you again when we have our next function, so that you can share some more pastimes of Guru Maharaj. I just wanted to ask you about how is whilst you're on the line and whilst there's many devotees here who will also be interested to hear, how are things in Vrindavan? Is the temple open now? And how is the temple maintaining itself? Can you just give us a brief idea?
Well, no doubt, just like the rest of the world, we are all facing challenging times. Vrindavan temple, as you all probably know, is one of the biggest temples along with Mayapur and Bombay and some other temples. But Vrindavan temple was the very first one set by Srila Prabhupada, and he called Vrindavan his home. He called Bombay his office, So Vrindavan temple, we have about 700 devotees, and we are maintaining the deity worship to the highest of the standards set by Srila Prabhupada himself. We have 350 cows in our Goshala here, and we have about 150 cows in our farm, which is 10 miles from here, 10 kilometers from here. So we are maintaining the farmhouse, we're maintaining the Goshala, we're maintaining almost 500 cows, we're maintaining the deities. We have like 200 brahmacharis who are living in the ashram, so we're maintaining their livelihood and especially feeding them prasadam. We are also feeding prasadam to the Brajvasis who are living on the streets. You'll be surprised, there's a lot of Brajvasis, they don't live in homes, they don't live in rooms, they live under the trees, they live under pavements. They are so advanced, it's beyond our conception to understand who they really are. Prabhupada said, don't try to understand the Brajvasis, just serve them. So we are serving them also. We are working in cooperation and also with the authorities, that is the legal authorities, the police and the district magistrate. So they are helping us to guide us into which direction and which colonies are suffering the most. So we go out and we distribute prasadam. Our devotees cook prasadam, rice, dal, sabji, different things on different days, so that they get sumptuous, prasadam to eat. So at least one day, once a day they're getting meals from us, so that they are being taken care of. However, because there's no pilgrimages coming, we are still on a lockdown. Hopefully on the 8th, they will announce an opening of the temple. It could be end of June also, because there's different, words coming out. And even if it opens on the 8th, we can't see like pilgrims are going to flock in, because everyone is super conscious. India has been on a heavy lockdown. Therefore, the casualty is much, much lesser. There's 86% recovery as opposed to 4%, sad news. So we are concerned that as we open up and people start coming, that is when there is likelihood that the casualties will rise. For 2 to 3 months for sure, in India also casualties will rise. So that will affect the whole situation again. So we are appealing for help from anyone, everyone, all over the world, through our websites, through the devotees, that sometimes people know individual devotees, then they communicate with them and we guide them. So we need all the help, obviously financial help as much as possible to continue. Because to maintain 500 cows, to maintain 700 devotees, that does include some of the grihasthas who have family members, So you could probably say about 1,000, devotees being taken care of. So we are working very, very hard on these things. In the first month, we had very good help coming financially from overseas and here also. Second month, it went down a little. We got like 50% of what we needed, and we had to use some of the reserves. We made some reserves. We always make reserves for emergency. So that's how we've been surviving. This is the third month. So we're working on different strategies. If you follow our website, you'll see that. I will also send you some specific information you can send to your group circle. Any which way you guys are able to help, this will be a big plus. And of course, Vrindavan is the holy Dham. Whenever you come, now you have a home here and you have a servant here. So any help you guys need, I'm here. You can always, communicate with me. I'll arrange or I'll connect you to the right people, right sources, and make your visit, blissful. Please, when you come, normally we do Radhakund, Shyamkund, Govardhan, and Vrindavan Parikrama, but there is 1,500 villages, and there's so many pastimes of Krishna. So if you come, please come for a little longer time. Let me know. I will show you all the different options, and you can choose. So each time you come, you can do different visits to different places, and you realize so many different pastimes of Krishna. It's really wonderful. Even I have lived here previously, and I'm living now here. every time, every week I go out to different place and discover different pastimes of Krishna, and it's just so relishing. It's just so blissful, so enjoyable. So I'm here for you guys whenever I can be of any assistance to you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity once again. Hare Krishna. You're on mute.
Okay, Trikal, I really want to thank you very much for that, all the kind words you've said also, and inspiring words you've said, and the time you spent with Maharaj in those early years. And for me, I know that, when I first came across Maharaj was actually on a Sunday afternoon, early 70s, when I'd come across Bhagavad Gita in a bookshop, and I'd met some devotees, and then I'd spent some time in London, and I used to go to Bury Place, and then I also went to the Manor when the place was first given. And I remember Krishnadas Maharaj giving classes on a Sunday evening in Hindi, and I used to keep thinking, wow, there's only one Indian devotee at that time, but there was all Americans and all these other devotees, and then only Maharaj was around, and I could relate to that, but I didn't quite actually connect with him at that time. All I know is that he used to give classes, and then he never spoke to me or didn't ask me anything, but I just sat in his classes and I listened to his lectures. I bumped into him at the Bury Place. At that time, George Harrison's "My Sweet Lord," and although that was the early 70s, and when we read that Shyam Sundar's book, when I can start to think about the 70s and 80s and time when Krishna consciousness was just about flourishing, and I had never heard of Prabhupada actually. But I was always very impressed by the signature at the back of Bhakti, the Bhagavad Gita book. When you actually, it's actually a Macmillan version of this Bhagavad Gita, and behind was a Prabhupada's picture, and there was a signature of Prabhupada, which is always very impressive when you actually look at it and think, amazing. And in 1970s, I read Bhagavad Gita, Gandhi's translation or interpretations, Dan Mascaro and a few other Bhagavad Gitas, and also Transcendental Meditation was a big thing then. And Maharishi Yogi, he wrote 6 chapters, translated or not translated, commentaries or something, but I never understood Bhagavad Gita then. And then his commentaries kind of confused me, because after chapter 6, he never wrote anything. I said, well, what happened? Then he said, no, because human consciousness is not ready and expanded yet, you can't comprehend after chapter 6. So Maharishi Yogi never wrote any Bhagavad Gita after that. I thought, well, this is crazy. But here was Bhagavad Gita as it is. And Prabhupada had given nice translations, purports, and that just blew my mind, In those days, I had already taken in my heart Prabhupada as my spiritual guide. And it was just then that, Maharaj was preaching to the Indian communities, London and all that. And then I know that this JT thing happened, and then Maharaj had gone away to Bharat on a pilgrimage, and he spent a lot of time there. Then this is Maharaj here, look, when he was a young man with Shivaram Maharaj. And Shivaram Maharaj also used to come to Coventry and spend a lot of time. But I met Shivaram Maharaj at Chaitanya College when I went to see Trikaljnana there. Trikaljnana, I'd heard of him. I went to see him, and obviously we were influenced by Bhagwan Das at that time. So then, our preaching and efforts in Coventry, because of Trikaljnana, he came and encouraged me. We did a few dramas in a school hall. And then Trikaljnana also came and did a few house programs. And then when Maharaj came back to UK on return, obviously he wasn't allowed at the Manor. Trikaljnana explained how Maharaj was, with the help of Gurumaharaj and Bhagwan, and Maharaj was given a room at the but Maharaj did stay with Trikalya as well. You know, I remember picking Maharaj from Trikalya's house and taking him around, preaching in Southall and Birmingham. I used to bring him to Coventry, Birmingham, Leicester. So Bhagwan, you know, I mean, I took initiation from Bhagwan then with Trikalya. We all, you know, it was a large group of devotees. But he did fix us with Prabhupada. This is a picture of my kids and my Dharmapatni at Chaitanya College. You know, Trikalya, you can remember
Nice.
this. And here's, when we were preaching in Coventry, we used to go to people's houses early Saturday. We had to go about an hour before, set up an altar, take a picture of Radha Gokulnand and Radha Krishna and Prabhupada and Panch Tattva, and we would set up the altar in people's house. And then there you can probably see Haridas's Dolki, and I would play Kartalas. And both of us would just give a nice class and make sure that they prepare some nice prasad. And people loved it. Every Saturday, we used to get booked. You know, we used to, efforts in Coventry were like that, you know. So Maharaj Ki Jay, you know, Srila Prabhupada. When Bhagwan left, you know, then obviously Maharaj became one of the initiating gurus. I remember the first devotee was somebody called Raghupati. And he was, I don't know, he served Maharaj quite a lot, you know, and then after that, I don't know what happened to where he went, you know, there, but, you know, I'm sure, you know, but he always waited for Maharaj. He was so inspired by Krishna's Maharaj. So when he becomes a guru, I want to be his disciple. And first disciple, I can remember, it was him, you know. So then obviously Trikalya has given us a good account of the time that, you know, Save the Manor campaign. We all supported in that, and the Heartsmith Council and
Madhusudan Prabhu, there you see, you should add, this is for your historical backgrounds, that several things. Royds Boyson and Reg Friesen, these two people were really influenced by Maharaj. You know, some or other, we brought them and Maharaj preached to them, and then they started helping us. Royds Boyson was the Tory MP from Wembley area, and Reg Friesen was Labour MP. And then we created a competition between the two of them to bring support from the party. And that was mainly because of Maharaj. Initially, Maharaj met with them. We brought these guys to the temple, and Frank and I brought them to the temple, and then Maharaj preached to them. There was no stopping. I want to go back one to George Harrison. There are, you guys should look up for some pictures of Maharaj with George Harrison. There are pictures of Maharaj, Gurumaharaj, George Harrison, Maharaj, Dhananjaya Prabhu, George Harrison, some really first-class pictures. They are at the Manor somewhere. If you can somehow dig them out, it'll be really good for your records, you know.
We've got some of those pictures, but some of the pictures that Madhusudan Prabhu is showing about Guru Maharaj and Shiva Maharaj, we don't have those. So Madhusudan Prabhu will be in touch with you, huh?
Yeah. Even I was, because you asked me a couple of days ago, and then I was scouting around. I don't have a lot of pictures. I know one devotee in Coventry, Damodar, he probably has a lot of pictures, and there's a they've got lots of pictures of Maharaj. You know, they were camera freaks, you know. So yeah, definitely we should, you know, have the collections of some of these. But because we don't realize, you know, that Maharaj had met Prabhupada at the Manor, and and Maharaj had met Prabhupada. He asked, Prabhupada had actually asked Maharaj that, you know, can you help? You can help me because you want to spread Sanatana Dharma. I'm doing the same. Then Maharaj said, no, I'm from a different sampradaya and I have a guru. So then Maharaj actually wrote a letter to his guru asking for his permission to help Prabhupada. And Guru Maharaj was very, very liberal and very broad-minded in his thinking. He actually encouraged Krishna's Maharaj. He said, yes, you should go and help him. because they're a similar sort of sampradayas, you know, Brahma, Gaudiya, Madhava Sampradaya. So we are from Brahma Sampradaya, from Gaudiya Sampradaya. So we should all, we're all Vaishnavas, so you should help him. And then obviously Krishnadas Maharaj took initiation. There were the early times, and without his efforts and his preaching, the Indian community wouldn't have been that forward in Krishna consciousness, visiting manner and also coming forward to give their time the way they did. And Maharaj also, you know, installed Sitaram deities, you know, at the manor. Maharaj went personally to go and bring these deities from Bharat. And, you know, Maharaj's preaching has always been so strong. So we supported, obviously. This is when Maharaj was able to become an initiating guru. This is Maharaj on a Rath Yatra, so he would always be there at the Rath Yatra. Okay, well, you know, basically, I'm just saying that, you know, Maharaj, I remember when I was used to, actually in Coventry, Maharaj had already came across one devotee at the manor called Mrs. Veena Anand. She was from Coventry. She had visited manor, and then she met Krishnadas Maharaj over there. And by preaching, she came home, and immediately she said, I'm going to become a vegetarian. I want to turn my house into a temple. And then she applied for an extension in her house. And she said, I want to make a temple. And the council objected. He said, you're going to build a temple behind your house. He said, no, it's only just an extension. So then she got a permission to do that. And then Maharaj came and installed the deities at her house, and they're still there, you know.
And they're still worshipped by her daughter, Mangala.
Yes, Mangala serves the deities. And obviously she took initiation from Maharaj and, you know, Vishnu Priya. We named her, we named the kitchen at the temple in Coventry after her name. So we call her Vishnu Priya Kitchen. And she, one day, I don't know, I can remember, she just passed away, you know, all of a sudden. But she gave her place as a place of somewhere to do programs every Saturday. When we were stuck, we couldn't find anywhere, her place was always open, and she would cook sumptuous prasad and feed us, and she was really wonderful devotee, you know. And when she passed away, I remember her funeral time, you know, Krishnadas Maharaj was already there. He personally himself did the ceremony, vidhi, you know, the vidhi that they do. Maharaj didn't come to the crematorium, but he actually stayed in the house. But we took Vishnu Priya to the crematorium all the way, like a devotee chanting actually all the way, you know, and it was amazing time, but she was a wonderful lady. But her two children were very, very young, and they grew up in Mangala and Sahadev, you know, they're both wonderful devotees in Coventry. And then our preaching efforts, obviously Guru Maharaj started preaching around London. I can remember one time I went to Southall, and it was invited there. When we got there, the committee had decided, we don't want to give these Hare Krishnas too much time, you know. So they came and said to Maharaj, we're only giving you 5 minutes. Maharaj said, I came all the way. He didn't complain anything. You know, I felt myself that, look, I've driven Maharaj all the way. I came from Coventry, picked Maharaj, gone to Southall, and then here we are, they're saying 5 minutes only. The Maharaj said, no, don't worry. That's enough for me. And I tell you, I just thought, what's Maharaj going to do in 5 minutes? And I tell you, in those 5 minutes, it just blew my mind. In those 5 minutes, he preached in such a way that the Indian community just sat there and looking. And in those 5 minutes, Maharaj must have covered about Sanatana Dharma and something so strong. And then some of the congregation members came to Maharaj. He said, can you just spend a few more? He said, Maharaj said, no, I was only given 5 minutes, and I'm only going to take 5 minutes. I'm not going to say anything more now. and they were bleeding, you know. Said, Maharaj, give us your association more, but Maharaj wouldn't, you know. Said, no. Committee said 5 minutes. So that was an amazing experience, you know. And there was a time, this is me, you know, in Leamington Spa introducing Krishna as Maharaj. Went to Leamington Spa, and then Dudley, Wolverhampton, all around, you know. Took him so many places, you know, preaching. But Maharaj was always like a lion, like Trikaljnana said, you know. He would preach, you know. He was always dynamic. Even I could, you know, I used to obviously look after my family. My Dharmapatni, you were always complaining, you rushing off here, there. But there we were, you know, we were trying to establish a temple in Coventry. And so, yeah, you know, this was our time in Coventry. So when we established, you know, after about 3-4 years in Hindu temple and house programs, the outreach in community, you know, we purchased the building in Coventry, turning into a nice center, nice temple. We worked hard, but some wonderful devotees sprouted out in Coventry, like Anand Vijay, there's Lokanath and Radha Sakhi, Damodar Das and Janak Raj, and there was a boy, Bipin, Maharaj always called him Vishal, you know. And then obviously there is Rampal. Dr. Rampal served Maharaj so much, you know, as a doctor as well. He's a doctor himself, and he spent so much time with Maharaj. And Maharaj would always consult him and ask him for advice. And Rampal has given so much, and Hara and Pushkar, and so there's so many to mention the name, but this one is definitely one to. Somebody's ingrained in, because this is at my place when Maharaj used to come and stay at my place, and then Anand Vijay there. I actually, first time he met Krishnadas Maharaj here, and he can actually tell more, you know. Maybe give him a few minutes and he can say a few things. But
he's here now, if you want to just ask him.
Yeah, this was his moment, actually, when his life turned around.
You want to say anything?
Yeah, first of all, there's so much I'd like to say. I want to thank Trikaljnana in case I don't get a chance later on to say thank you. But it was good to see you after a long time. I know you can't recognize me with this here, but nevertheless, I'm the same person. I thank you for the history, because some of the detail that you provided, actually, I only had a sketchy outline. And there's so much more I'd like to ask you. But also, thank you for what you said about the ashram in Vrindavan. And I think devotees will talk about that afterwards as well.
Sure.
But I think as Madhusudan has added to this, when I first came to Coventry, Vishnu Priya Devi, she was her ashram. There was no temple when I first came. It was only house programs. So I remember Vishnu Priya very well. And I remember this day because I was reading Srila Prabhupada's books by now and trying to chant, but I still had a lot of Christian philosophy, a lot of other philosophy, because I was on a long search before I came to ISKCON and found Srila Prabhupada's books. So it wasn't fully, lots of unanswered questions, and the picture wasn't joined up for me. So when I met Maharaj, in my heart, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, if he can answer my questions and get rid of my doubts, then that's it. So in a way, I'm talking to Maharaj, but actually in my heart is a bit of a challenge, because I want him to actually get rid of my doubts. So by the time I'd asked Maharaj some questions, and by the time the conversation was over, Maharaj had completely finished my doubts. Everything was completely finished. At that moment, I surrendered completely to him at that moment. So I'm ever grateful to Madhusudan. And I've said to him many times that how fortunate I am that that picture was taken when it was, so that I've got a reminder. It's up on my wall. I see it every day. I remember that's the day when I actually surrendered to the lotus feet of my Guru Maharaj. So Madhusudan, thank you so much. And there's a lot more I could say, because what you were doing, you know, not just you, Haridas, and other devotees as well, because Nanubai, you mentioned his name, but Nanubai, just as how Vishnu Priya Devi was the home where all the programs would be held, but Nanubai, when we got the temple, it was Nanubai's ashram that supported the activities of the devotees, because they would cook and bring to the temple, bring prasad to the temple, or the devotees would go there and take prasad, or go there and make themselves comfortable. And that went on for a long time until the temple was established and was self-sustaining. So lots of thanks and gratitude to you devotees for setting the foundation. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for that. Well, I thought, this is the moment in your life as a turnaround. So, again, as we say, with Coventry Temple, once the temple was established, Maharaj really, his time over there. We did the installation of the Gaur-Nitai deities there with Maharaj, building up the congregation there. And these are some boys that grew up, they're all young men, no longer young kids anymore, but certainly there's my son over there in the middle there, and there's this Sanjay. They all grew up in Maharaj's association, and then they did dramas, and Maharaj, encouraged them to take part in dramas and learn slokas and things like that. So Maharaj spent time with the kids here. There is a Prabhupada installation when Maharaj installed Prabhupada and him a bath, and then he did puja. So there's some pictures like that. Obviously, this is the Gaur-Nitai deities when Pran Pratishtha is being done. So Maharaj and Shivram Maharaj carried out the ceremony at that time. So, this is we also supported the South London Yatra. We drove down to South London so many times, and they came over to Coventry a lot. And, Nabi and all the devotees there, I can remember them sprouting up and then blossoming as well, and then preaching now and spending a wonderful, wonderful time. So Maharaj also traveled to Mauritius, South Africa, Bharat, and may experience the journeys. Many of you wonderful devotees have had the chance to travel with Maharaj in Bharat, and train journeys, and you got wonderful stories to tell. I never had the opportunity like that, but I just spent most of my time in Midlands and Coventry and this and that with Maharaj. In the last few years, Maharaj didn't used to come to Coventry a lot for whatever reasons, and then he would stay in Leicester or somewhere, and we would go and see him there. My last time with him was just spending the Janmashtami at Hara and Pushkar's house. I thought, Janmashtami, why should I not go to the manor and celebrate in a big way? Like everybody does, big festival and all that. But I thought, no, if my Guru Maharaj is there in Leicester, then I should go and sit with him. Forget the festivities, but spend Janmashtami with him. So last Janmashtami that he was here at Pushkar, and I spent my time with him, with a few devotees like Rampol, and Vijay and others. And the wonderful thing Maharaj actually told us at that time, that Maharaj said at that time, I can remember his last few words, that during Lord Chaitanya's time, and the Mughal Empire and the Muslim influence in India, the Bharatiyas were very, very demoralized. And it was Lord Chaitanya who actually came and instilled this, don't worry about temples, don't worry about all these different things. Just the Mahamantra itself is powerful enough. It's Krishna himself present in the Mahamantra. So Maharaj actually, encourages, made me understand that actually Sanatana Dharma is an eternal concept, eternal like gravity, or sunshine, or you can't change that. And it's very scientific. So Sanatana Dharma is very scientific and laid down by Lord Brahma. You can't change it. You can't destroy it. Bharat is known as India or Hindustan or this. People are confused about that. But today, I hope they make a decision and say, constitutionally, Bharat is Bharat now. Forget India, forget Hindustan. We are not this Hindustan and Pakistan and Afghanistan and this town and that. This is Bharatiya. And Maharaj always said from the very beginning, he said, Don't ever say India, Bharat. Bharat. So even then to see Maharaj actually globally going to South Africa and seeing all these achievements and wonderful devotees all over in Mauritius and South Africa and all that. We've never met them, but they're all like a big family. And there we are, we always feel inspired by actually hearing about Maharaj's travels and all that. So that's my contribution for today. And Gurumaharaj Ki Jay, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jay, and Gaur Nitai Ki Jay. So if there's anything else anybody would like to add and say, then definitely, Nabi, thank you for giving me the opportunity. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare as much as I could, but this has been my time spent. I know there are times when I distance myself from the yatra and commentary or something, but never from Guru Maharaj. I was never distanced away from Maharaj. Might not have associated with him sometimes when he was here, and I felt, oh, I got other things to do. But in my heart, Maharaj has always been there.
Thank you very much, Madhusudan, and Guru Maharaj always had a lot of affection for you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention how when we took second initiation in 1990, you came and you were the priest, the Purohit, and like, I don't know, do you remember that occasion at all?
I do remember, yes. I know that there were 4 wonderful couples who had been initiated. In the first, you were a gang of 4 or something, as you would call it, but you and your Dharam Patni and there was this Krishna, Gopal Krishna, and forget the names of the other 2, your sister, and yeah. There were 4 couples, and Maharaj said they're taking Brahman initiation, so you got to come and do the yagya. I said, I've never done yagya, Maharaj. I'm not really a yagya kind of person, I'm just a devotee. I just help out whatever I can. But to do a yagya, I've never done that. So Maharaj said, no, you come and do it. You can do it. So he set up the whole yagya. He told me what to do, where to do, where to put things and all that. And then he actually conducted the ceremony. I mean, I was just an instrument, really. But you 4 couples were Brahman initiated, I know. And that was the first time and the last time I ever did any yagya. I don't think I'm a yagya kind of person. People might do that. But I had to do the mantras and I had to remember everything. But it was a wonderful thing to do, actually, for for you all in South London. And you and Krishna, they all took Brahman initiation. Yeah, very nice.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Trikal and Madhusudan Prabhus. And I think definitely we'll be calling upon you again. Just a bit of advance notice. I think Sunday, 5th of July is Guru Purnima. And we were thinking we will do proper Vyas Puja celebration for Guru Maharaj, where all the devotees can offer their words and their hearts to Guru Maharaj. So please keep that day in your mind and perhaps free. Probably in the UK times, we were thinking between 3 and 8 o'clock. So it'll be like a 5-hour session. And what we'll try to do is involve all the different yatras. So just an example of who's in this conference. There are many devotees from South Africa, from Mauritius, from US, from Canada, from Bharat, Australia, pretty much all around the world. And today we've heard very nice pastimes, which I think I haven't heard many of these things. So new pastimes of Guru Maharaj in the UK. But of course, he had incredible pastimes in South Africa, incredible pastimes in Mauritius and in Bharat. And I wanted devotees to share those pastimes with us so that as a group, as disciples of Guru Maharaj, we become familiar, we become aware of how amazing a preacher he is. because what he did was amazing, absolutely phenomenal. But we will never understand until we sort of meet a bit more often and share with each other these pastimes. So I'd like to really thank Madhusudan and Trikaljnana Prabhu again, because you've given us a little flavor of what happened in the early days when Guru Maharaj joined ISKCON and began the preaching work in the UK. So thank you very, very much for this.
Yeah.
Atri Rishi is on the line. Atri, are you there?
I think one thing I'd like to say is, as Trikaljnana said, I gone last year. I was there in Vrindavan, and not often I get a chance, but I went to see Trikaljnana there. And certainly the place, Maharaj's place, you know, I was instrumental in getting that place, because when Trikaljnana was selling that place, I was there, and then we all decided to buy that. Krishna's Maharaj, you know, decided that we should try and get that place and have a place in Vrindavan. It was Maharaj's desire that, you know, all his disciples should retire and go to Vrindavan, or should have a place there, and Maharaj encouraged us to get that place. And I remember drawing up the initial papers, and I became the initial trustee of that place when we bought it. But then obviously I was, the paperwork had changed and all that, and then everything has changed. The place is wonderful. Trikaljnana said everything, you know. And certainly Rajaram is there, but I don't know the intricacies of all the details. But certainly, if there was a way that that place could have a samadhi, that would be nice. Just simple one, but it can be at least, you know, place of pilgrimage for all his disciples.
If you Google on Philadelphia, the Gita Nagari, and you see Samadhi of Bhakti Swami, it's very simple. It's like a nice gazebo, and you know, it's inexpensive. It's easy to maintain, and all the devotees who come, they go and pay respects to Maharaj, and then they go into the temple. It's just very nicely done, very simple. Doesn't have to be anything complicated. And you could also, there is plenty of rooms in that property. You could refurbish some of the rooms so they can turn like into hospice. So as you know, we are not getting younger anymore. Some of us who have been older, you may want to just come and, you know, have your last moments in Vrindavan. And you had what better place to be than in Vrindavan, in your own Guru Maharaj's place. You know, it's like being in the lap of Guru Maharaj, the lap of Radharani. And so I would humbly advise that you consider something like that. If you need help, then I'm here to help also.
Definitely we need help, and definitely we need to do something. Atri Rishi Prabhu, you there?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna devotees, please have humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Guru Maharaj, all glories to Prabhupada. I'm sorry, I've been just getting snippets here and there, but I'm really enjoying. So we'd like to thank Madhusudan Prabhu and others for the presentation. Much appreciated. Hare Krishna.
So Atri Rishi is the senior devotee in South Africa, and very, very instrumental in keeping the devotees together. Out of all the yatras, the South African yatra is the one that's really together when it comes to celebrating all the different festivals. For example, Gita Jayanti and the Vyas Puja, and so many other things they do. And it's very inspiring, because now we're very fortunate, because this lockdown has given us a platform where it's not just South Africa, but we can all come together. And I think we'll try to get together a little bit more regularly, especially on Maharaj's special occasions. But perhaps we could also have sessions where the South African Yatra can, as a yatra, discuss how Guru Maharaj had an impact on them. And we can all listen into this, because it will be very enlightening for us. So now I was thinking we should, because we are celebrating his appearance day, if we can perform Aarti to Srila Guru Maharaj. And singing wise, Madhusudan Babu, we haven't heard you sing for many, many years. Would you like to sing Guru Puja?
Yeah, that's no problem.
So we've set up a picture here of Guru Maharaj on the altar, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this. And gently can do Aarti.
Okay.
So you can start anytime now.
Yeah.
So you can...
Okay. Let me just. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Satma Bandhamohi Savadana Mate Yahare Prasade Bhai Ye Bhavatoriya Krishna Prapti Hoya Krishna Prapti Hoya Horite Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Sitete Koriya Kya Arana Koriyo Mane Sa Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Sitete Koriya Kya Arana Koriyo Mane Sa Shri Guru Charane Rati Ese Utama Gati Ye Prasade Pure Sarva Asa Shri Guru Charane Rati Ese Utama Gati Ye Prasade Pure Sarva Asa Satchodanu Dindo Se Janme Janme Prabhu Se Satchodanu Dindo Se Janme Janme Prabhu Se Divyagyan De Prakasito Divyagyan De Prakasito Prema Bhakti Ahoite Avidya Vinasayate Ahoite Avidya Vinasayate Vidgaya Racharito Vidgaya Racharito Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Lokanath Lokera Jivana Lokanath Lokera Jivana Ah Prabhu Kora Doya Deamore Padachaya Ah Prabhu Kora Doya Deamore Padachaya Beas Kusutri Bhuvana Ebeas Kusutri Bhuvana Dvipadalaila Sharana Prabhupada Patita Pavana Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Maharaj Guru Maharaj Guru Maharaj Jaya Guru Maharaj Tagora Haribo 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 Nitagor Haribo Nitagor Haribo 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 Nitagor Haribo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Guru Maharaj Ki Jay Jai Krishna Maharaj Ki Jay.
So devotees, we can all offer flowers to Srila Guru Maharaj. Jaya Guru Maharaj, Jaya Guru Maharaj,
Jaya Guru Maharaj, Jaya Guru Maharaj,
Guru Maharaj,
Guru Maharaj, Guru Maharaj, Jaya Guru Maharaj.
Haribo, 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 Nitagara. So I wanted to ask if Atma Doshni, are you there? If Atma, you're there.
Hi Krishna.
Oh,
Hi
good,
Krishna.
great. Shall we? Can you sing Samsara Raga for us?
Okay, sure.
And if you sing, we can repeat as well. That'd be nice.
Okay, sure. Samsare dava nanalita loka pranaya karunya gana ganatvam
Lalita
Papasya goyana gunarnavasya vande Shri Charanaravindam
Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam.
Atasya koyana gunarnavasya vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam
Prapasya
Gunavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam.
Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Varitya Madhyan Manasorate
Mahaprabhu ke Nitya Gita Bhakrita Madhyan Manasara Sena
रोमाञ्चकम्पा श्रुतरङ्गभाजो वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्
Romantakapa Shukrangabhaja Mande Goroshi Charanarvindam
श्रीविग्रहाराधन नित्यानना शृङ्गारतन्मन्दिरमर्जनाद
Vigrahara Tanityanana Shringaratan Nirmarjanago
युक्तस्य भक्ताः चान्यञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् चान्यञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् चतुर्विधा श्री भगवत्प्रसाद स्वाध्वनतृप्तान् हरिभक्तसङ्घान्
Chaturvidashi Bhagavat Prasado
तृप्तान् हरिभक्तसङ्घान् कृत्वैव तृप्तिं भजत सदैव वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्
Vande Goroshi Charanarvindam
श्रीराधिका माधवयोरपारा माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपनाम्ना
Niradikama Dayarapara Madhurya Nila Gurumaharaj
प्रतीक्षणा स्वादनलोलुपस्य वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्
Nasa Dhanalolopatya Vande Goroshi Charanarvindam
निकुञ्जयुनो रक्तिकेलिसिद्ध्या यायालिभिर्युक्तिरपेक्षणीया तत्रातिदाक्ष्यात् अतिबलवस्य वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्
Tatatidakshahat Ativalabhasya Vande Guru Charanarvindam
साक्षात् हरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रे युक्तस्तथा भाव्यतैव साक्षी
Sakshadharitvena Namaste
किन्तु प्रभो यः प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्
प्रभुया प्रिया एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्
यस्य प्रसादात् भगवत् प्रसादात् यस्य प्रसादात् नगति कुतोऽपि
यस्य प्रसादो भगवत् प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादो नलगिततोऽपि
त्रयांस्तु वांस्तस्य यशास्त्रि सन्ध्यम् वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्
त्वयाप्तुवान् तस्य यस्यति सन्ध्यं वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्
यायां स्तुवांस्तस्य यशास्त्रि सन्ध्यम् वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्
त्वयाप्तु वां तस्य यस्यति सन्ध्यं वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्
वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्
वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्
वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्
Vande Guru
गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्
जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा
Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva
जय पतित पावन गुरुदेवा जय पतित पावन गुरुदेवा
Jaya Patita Pavana Gurudeva Jaya Patita Pavana Gurudeva
जय वैष्णव ठाकुर श्रीला गुरुदेवा जय वैष्णव ठाकुर श्रीला गुरुदेवा
Jaya Vaishnava
गुरुदेवा जय
वैष्णव
Gurudeva
जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव
Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Srila Gurumaharaj Ki Jay.
Jai.
Very, very beautifully. Wow, Atma Deshni, we're missing you. Chacha, Guru Maharaj's younger brother, the father of Gayatri and Tamal, passed away 29th of May. I think that's per the Western calendar. So we want to just remember him as well, because he was very instrumental in assisting Guru Maharaj in setting up Kalki Dham. And Chacha gave up any personal life in order to serve Guru Maharaj's mission. And to set up Kalki Dham was no mean feat. It was amazing effort. Chacha was very, very central in that effort. And it's really a great loss to us, to Kalki Dham, that he's no longer there. But it also shows the great mercy of Gaumata, because I think most devotees will know, but just in case they don't, Chacha went to Vrindavan on must have been the 28th night, took the train from Jalandhar to reach Vrindavan in the morning of the 29th of May. And when he reached to the ashram, Guru Maharaj's ashram, Rajaram met him, he was there, and he had some little lassi, and then he started feeling a little discomfort in the chest, and Rajaram took him to a doctor, and the doctor suggested to go to the hospital. And whilst they were going to the hospital in the rickshaw, Chacha passed away very peacefully in Vrindavan Dham. This is the mercy of Guru Maharaj, the mercy of serving Gaumata. What an incredible way to leave this world. Of course, we miss him. The family definitely miss him. Kalki Dham misses him. Everybody misses him, because Chacha was such a charismatic personality. When he went to Kalki Dham, his smile would just be so enormous. You know, you would come home, and every day, every time you see him, you would say everything's okay. He'd look after you so nicely, you know. But so we will definitely miss him. But his departure was absolutely glorious, because he left without giving anybody any difficulty. Simply went from Vrindavan back to Golok. So we wanted to, Karuna Bandar, are you there? Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Karuna is from Mauritius and really glorious devotee. She is the daughter of Dattatreya Prabhu, who is Guru Maharaj's very senior disciple, and in Mauritius. And, really very faithful, wonderful devotee for so many years. He was an amazing devotee. So she's the daughter, and she's also very amazing. We'd like to recite Shinga Kavach for Chacha. Of course, Chacha does not need it. We need it. We need it a lot more than anybody. So really, this Guru Maharaj would always be happy when we would pray for each other, pray for our godbrothers, godsisters.
Oh, there it is. Krishna, that's one.
So we'd like to we request Karuna Bandar to lead the chanting. Now, I just want to see if I can get it up so that everybody can follow it. So just 1 second. Sorry, Dharamraj, I'm going to stop the video so that we can all follow the Nashinga Kavach. Hope that's okay. Scroll close. Okay, Karunabandha, please.
Shri Lakshmi Deva Ki Jay, Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jay, Prabhupada Ki Jay, Gurumaharaj Ki Jay. Narsingha Kavacham Vakshe Prahladena Ditam Pura, Sarva Rakshakaram Punyam Sarvopadravanashanam, Sarva Sampatkaram Cheva Swarga Moksha Pradayakam, Dhyadvanarishimham Devesham Hema Simhasanastitam, Vivritasyam Trinayanam Sharadindu Shamaprabham, Lakshmyalingitamamangam vibhutibirupashritam Chaturbhujam komalangam swarnakundalashobitam Shriyasu shobitoraskam ratnakeyuramudritam Kaptakanchana.
I think we've lost Mataji. No, she's there. Yes. Upstairs. Okay, sure. Can devotees hear anything?
No.
Oh, so we've lost Karuna, right?
Yes, we have.
Okay. Yes, actually, once Karuna's getting herself hopefully back together with us, actually she's there. She might be thinking she's chanting. Karuna, we can't hear you. Chitra, if you're there, just let your mother know. We can't hear her. So just to let devotees know that there are a few devotees who are really working very hard at the moment on setting up Guru Maharaj's website. It's Uddhav, Uma Devi, Dharamraj, Madhu Mangal, Atma Darshini, and Vasudeva Prabhu's. They are collating pictures from all over the world. So if you have any pictures which you haven't shared with them, please do so. Now, Madhusudan Prabhu, you definitely have some pictures which we've never seen. So I will share your details with Uddhav, and if it's possible, you could just liaise with him and get those pictures to him. And if there's anybody else, this is the right time, because Uma Devi especially is cataloging all of these pictures, and there's perhaps 1,000 or so pictures at least. So this is a really monumental task, and a very important task for us and the future as well. So if we can help these wonderful devotees in what they're doing, it will be really nice. So Karuna Bandar, are you back?
No, she's logged off. She's going to come.
Okay, she's going to come back.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, she came at my place. She lost all the...
Okay, she's with you now.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu, my phone battery is dead.
If that's the only thing we have to worry about in this world, that would be so nice.
So shall I start again?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Shri Lakshmi Deva Ki Jay, Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jay, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jay, Gurumaharaj Ki Jay. Narsingha Kavacham Vakshe Prahladena Ditam Pura, Sarva Rakshakaram Punyam Sarvopadravanashanam, Sarva Sampatkaram Charva Sarga Moksha Pradayakam, Dhyadvanarashimham Devesham Hema Simhasanastitam, Vivrintasyam Trinayanam Sharadindu Shamaprabham, Lakshmalingitavamangam Vibhutibirupashritam, Chaturbhujam Komalangam Sarnakundala Shobhitam, Shriyasu Shobhito Ratkam Ratnakeyuramudritam
तप्तकाञ्चन शङ्काशं पीतनिर्मलवाससम् इन्द्रादिसुरमौलिष्ट सुरन्माणिक्यदीप्तिभिः विराजितपदाधन्वं शङ्खचक्रादिहेतिभिः गुरुपताच्च विनयात् स्तूयमानं मुदान्वितं सरितकमलसंवासं कृत्वा तु कवचं वते नरसिंहो मे शिरः पातु लोकरक्षार्थसम्भव सर्वगोपीस्तम्भवास फालं मे रक्षतु धनिं नरसिंहो मे दिशो पातु सोमसूर्यादिलोचन स्मृतं मे पातु नरहरि मुनिवार्यस्तुतिप्रिया नासं मे सिंहनासस्तु मुखं लक्ष्मीमुखप्रिया सर्वविद्यादिपापातु नरसिंहो रसतां मम वक्त्रं पाद्विन्दुवदनं सदा प्रह्लादवन्दिता नरसिंह पातु मे कण्ठं स्कन्धो भूवरनान्तकृत् दिव्यास्त्रशोभितो भुज नरसिंह पातु मे भुजौ हरो मे देवा वरदो नरसिंह पातु सर्वदा हृदयं योगी साध्याश्च निवासं पातु मे हरि मध्यं पातु हिरण्याक्ष वक्षकुक्षिविदारणा नाभिं मे पातु नरहरि स्वराभिब्रह्म संस्तुता ब्रह्माण्डकोटया कत्यां यस्य पातु मे कतिं गुह्यं मे पातु गुह्यानां मन्त्राणां गुह्यरूपधिक् गुरुमनोभव पातु जानोनि नररूपधिक् जाङ्गे पातु धराभार हर्ता योऽसौ नित्यकरी सूरराजा प्रद पातु पादौ मे नरहीश्वरा सहस्रशीर्षा पुरुषा पातु मे सर्वतस्तनुम् महोग्रः पूर्वतः पातु महावीराग्रजोनिता महाविष्णु दक्षिणे तु महाज्वालस्तु नैऋतौ पश्चिमे पातु सर्वेषु दिशि मे सर्वतो मुखा नरसिंह पातु वायाव्यां सौम्यं भीषणविग्रह शान्यां पातु भद्रो मे सर्वमङ्गलदायक संसारभयतः पातु मृत्योर्मृत्युनिकेशरी इदं नरसिंह कवचं प्रह्लादमुखमण्डितं भक्तिमान् यपते नित्यं सर्वपापै प्रमुच्यते पुत्रवान् धनवान् लोके दीर्घायुरुपजायते यं यं कामयति कामं तं तं प्राप्नोति असंशयम् सर्वत्र जयमाप्नोति सर्वत्र विजयी भवेत् भूयन्तरिक्षदिव्यानां ग्रहाणां विनिवारणं वृश्चिकरोगसम्भूतविषापाहरणं परं ब्रह्मराक्षसयाक्षाणां दुरोत्सारणकारणं भुजे वा तालपत्रे वा कवचं लिखितं शुभं करमूले धृतां येन सिद्धेयो कर्मसिद्ध्यय देवासुर्मनुष्येषु स्वं स्वमेव जयं लभेत् एकसन्ध्यं त्रिसन्ध्यं वा यापते नियतो नरः सर्वमाङ्गलमङ्गल्यं मुक्तिं मुक्तिं च विन्दति 32 पाते क्षुधात्मवृन्निधिः कवचस्यास्य मन्त्रस्य मन्त्रसिद्धिः प्रजायते अनेन मन्त्रराजेन कृत्वा भस्माभिर्मन्त्रणम् त्रिकं बिभ्रियाद्यस्तु तस्य ग्रहभयं हरेत् त्रिवारं जपमानस्तु दातं वर्याभिमन्त्रश्च प्रशयेद्यं नरं मन्त्रं नरसिंहध्यानमाचरेत् तस्य रोगाः प्रणश्यन्ति ये चक्षुकुक्षिसम्भव किमत्र बहुनोक्तेन नरसिंहसदृशो भवेत् मनसा चिन्तितं यत्तु सत्तच्चाप्नोत्यसंशयम् गरजन्तं गरजयन्तं निजभुजपतलं श्रोतयन्तं हतन्तं दीप्यान्तं तापयन्तं दिवि भुवि दितिजं क्षेपयन्तं क्षिपन्तं क्रान्तान्तं रोषयन्तं दिशि दिशि सततं संहरन्तं हरन्तं तीक्षान्तं पूरयान्तं करनिकरशते दिव्यसिंहं नमामि इति श्री ब्रह्माण्डपुराणे प्रह्लादोक्तं श्री नरसिंहकवचं सम्पूर्णम्। श्री लक्ष्मी देव भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय।
So I want to request Gayatri. Are you Gayatri?
Yes, Prabhu.
I was going to ask you to sing to Lord Nrsingadev. Namaste,
La da la da jai. Hiranyakashi Nakala Ito Nasinga Bharato Nasinga Yato Yato Yami Tato Nasinga Vahena Singha Hridayena Singha Nasinamani Saranam Prapati Tavakara Kamalavare Abhita Srija Lalita Sasipo Anupinga Yeshava Krishna Nari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nasingade Jaya Nasingade Nasingade Jaya Nasingade
Jaya Bhatta Pralay 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 Kale chani vani dare kalaya sikarvana Dhumaketu Hima Pitanana Keshavadita Kalki Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha
Navakara Kamala Varena Hiranyakashipu Dano Brinda Keshavadita Nararupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare
Jaya Kalkidhar Bhagwan Jai Kalkidhar Bhagwan Kalkidhar Bhagwan Jai Kalkidhar Bhagwan
Jaya Kalkidhar Bhagwan Jaya Kalkidhar Bhagwan Jaya Kalkidhar Bhagwan Jaya Kalkidhar
Jaya Param Guru Maharaj Jaya Param Guru Maharaj Param Guru Maharaj Jaya Param Guru Maharaj
Jaya Param Guru Maharaj Jaya Param Guru Maharaj Param Guru Maharaj Jaya Param Guru Maharaj
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Gurumaharaj Ki Jay, Gurumaharaj Ki Jay. So on 25th of July is a Saturday, and that is Kalki Jayanti as well. So Gayatri, sort out your mic and before that, because it's a lot of interference from your mic, because we want to celebrate Kalki Jayanti, and if you're free that day, we can have a nice celebration with all the devotees. So this is a good opportunity for us. Dharamraj, if you're still there, can you please share the video again? I was thinking if we could all chant one round of Maha Mantra and watching Guru Maharaj, different pictures, different pastimes. That would be really nice. And if anybody has to go, we'd like to thank you for participating in this festival. I'd like to thank Guru Maharaj for his really amazing mercy upon foolish souls like us, letting us take shelter of his lotus feet. And I'd like to thank especially Gayatri, because it's very early in the morning for her, especially to the devotees in Bharat, who it's very late now. So thank you very, very much. And devotees in Mauritius, South Africa, UK, of course. I'd like, see Janak Raj is there, so I'd like to really thank you for participating. And also from America and Canada. So really it's a multinational event. And it's been really, really nice to hear the wonderful pastimes of Guru Maharaj, especially in the early days. We'd like to hear a lot more from all the yatras, because he's made such a difference to so many. So we can chant the Maha Mantra one round, please, if that's okay. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Everybody can chant loudly. You can unmute yourselves. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Ram,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Krishna,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Rama,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Ram, Hare Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna,
Hare Rama,
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare Hare Ram, Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Rama Rama,
Hare
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 Hare,
Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram Ram,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Hare
Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Krishna,
Rama, Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Rama
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Ram,
Rama,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram Ram, Hare Krishna,
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Hare Ram,
Rama,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram,
Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna
Rama
Krishna
Rama,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Rama,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama
Krishna
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare
Rama,
Hare Ram,
Rama,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna
Hare Rama,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Rama, Hare Rama,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Ram,
Krishna, Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Krishna, Hare
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram
Hare
Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Rama,
Hare
Rama, Hare
Krishna, Krishna Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Rama,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Rama,
Hare Ram, Ram Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Hare Ram, Ram
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Ram,
Hare Rama, Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Krishna,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare
Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Rama,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
Hare Rama, Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram Ram,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram, Ram
Rama,
Ram,
Hare Rama,
Krishna,
Rama
Krishna
Rama,
Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram
Krishna,
Ram, Krishna, Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Rama
Ram
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Rama, Hare
Krishna
Rama,
Hare Hare,
Rama
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,